We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not.
You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds.
We need Greenland for national security.
Greenland. Greenland.
Greenland.
Greenland. Greenland.
Greenland.
All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about Greenland, a place you probably don't think about much. Vast, remote, mostly just ice. But this frozen island has suddenly become the center of a massive global power struggle. It might look quiet, but underneath the surface, a really high-stakes game is being played.
So that's the big question, right? Why? Why is this massive, frozen island suddenly a global hotspot? The whole thing really blew up when former President Trump announced he wanted to buy it from Denmark. It sounded crazy at first, but it turns out that idea pulled back the curtain on a much deeper, much more complicated reality.
First off, you gotta understand just how huge this place is. We're talking 2.16 million square kilometers. To put that in perspective, Greenland is bigger than Mexico and Indonesia combined. It is, by a long shot, the world's biggest island. But here's where it gets kind of weird. For all that massive size, the population is tiny. Only about 57,000 people live there, mostly huddled on the coasts where there isn't as much ice. So this is the paradox. Why is everybody fighting over a place with more ice than people? What gives? Well, to figure that out, we have to look back. Because America's interest in Greenland, it's not new. Not at all. It's actually a deep-seated security obsession that goes back over a century and a half. This has always been about strategy. And I'm not kidding, this has been a consistent thing in American foreign policy. The U.S. tried to buy Greenland way back in 1867, right after they bought Alaska. Then President Taft tried again in 1910. After World War II, President Truman offered $100 million in gold for it. That's over $1 billion today. Trump's offer was just the latest chapter in a very long book. And here's why. Just look at a map. Geographically, Greenland is the ultimate military high ground. It sits smack in the middle of the Arctic, acting like a giant unsinkable aircraft carrier between North America and Russia. If you control Greenland, you have a massive advantage over the entire Arctic region. And the thing is, the U.S. is already there. Big time. Thule Air Base is one of the most important overseas U.S. military bases. Its main job? An incredibly powerful early warning radar system. Think about it. If an ICBM is launched from Russia at the United States, it's gonna fly over the Arctic. This radar is the tripwire. It's the first line of defense. And on top of that, the base helps protect all those critical undersea cables that carry our internet traffic across the Atlantic. So here's the American worry in a nutshell. They're afraid that Denmark, which governs Greenland, is just too weak to secure this incredibly strategic asset, especially because there's a growing independence movement in Greenland. This quote from President Trump, blunt as it is, really gets to the heart of that fear. What happens if an independent Greenland tells the U.S. to leave, or worse, starts making deals with Russia or China? Okay, but military strategy is only one piece of the puzzle. It's not just about bases. We need to talk about what's under the ice, because Greenland is sitting on an absolutely mind-boggling treasure trove of natural resources. I'm talking about rare earth elements. You can think of these as the essential vitamins of our modern world. They are absolutely critical for, well, everything. The smartphone in your pocket, the electric car you might drive, advanced AI chips, wind turbines. All of it depends on these minerals. Without them, our tech-heavy world just stops. Now here's the problem. Look at who controls this stuff. Right now, China dominates about 90% of the entire global supply. And that's not just a business monopoly, it's a huge geopolitical weapon. If they want to, they can threaten to cut off the West, and that gives them incredible leverage. And this is where Greenland becomes the jackpot. It's believed to hold one of the world's largest untapped reserves of these exact elements. We're talking neodymium for the powerful magnets in electric vehicles, gallium for the next generation of AI and radar, and even uranium for nuclear power. If the U.S. controlled Greenland's resources, it could break China's monopoly in one single move.
Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, there's oil. A lot of oil. Some estimates suggest there could be 31 billion barrels just off the coast of northeast Greenland. That's a staggering amount of energy just waiting there.
So we have military strategy, we have this buried treasure, but the ultimate prize, the real reason this is all heating up right now, is something else entirely. It's about controlling the future map of the world. It's a wild paradox, isn't it? As the planet warms up, the Arctic ice is melting at an alarming rate. And this environmental crisis is, ironically,
unlocking a massive economic opportunity. A brand new, much shorter shipping route connecting Asia and Europe. The famous Northwest Passage is becoming a reality.
And just look at these numbers. It's insane. The old route from China to London through the Suez Canal is about 21,000 kilometers. The new Arctic route? It's just 12,000. That's 9,000 kilometers shorter. You're saving 10, sometimes 15 days of travel time. We're talking millions of dollars in fuel saved on every single voyage. This isn't just a minor improvement. It's a complete revolution in global trade.
So you get it now, right? Greenland sits right at the entrance to this new maritime superhighway. Controlling Greenland is like controlling the toll plaza for the future of global commerce. And you can bet Russia and China see this. They're already pushing their Polar Silk Road to try and dominate this route. For the US, letting that happen is simply not an option.
So, that brings us to the final and most critical part of all this. We've seen the why, now let's explore the what if. What would the consequences be if the US actually got its way and took control of Greenland?
Well, the first problem is a big one. Denmark is a founding member of NATO. And the whole point of NATO, the absolute core principle, is that an attack on one member is an attack on all of them. So if the US, the leader of NATO, were to forcibly take territory from its own ally, the entire alliance could just fall apart.
And the dominoes would just keep falling. Experts predict this whole cascade of terrible consequences. Yeah, the US would become the undisputed superpower in the Arctic, but it would completely shatter the trust it has with its European allies. It would become the new king of minerals, which would almost certainly trigger a major crisis with China. The rush to mine everything would risk devastating Greenland's fragile ecosystem, and most importantly, the people of Greenland, the 57,000 who call it home, would lose their right to decide their own future.
This quote really says it all. This isn't some minor territorial dispute. What happens in Greenland, what happens to this massive, icy island, could very well set the course for global politics for the rest of our lives. The stakes are just that high. And so that's where we are, with this huge, unsettling question hanging over everything. As the ice melts, it's revealing more than just shipping lanes and minerals. It's revealing the new fault lines of our world. Will Greenland's future be one of peaceful cooperation, or will it be the spark that ignites a new kind of world war? That, right now, is the great Greenland puzzle.